Hello everyone, welcome back to GGN. This is part 3. It's the final part for today for Wednesday, September 18th, 2013. I'm Darko. My website is ggnonline.net. I'm on YouTube, ddarko2012, ddarko2013 on my YouTube channels. I do accept donations and I do appreciate them very much. Alright, I'm ready to go here. I'm going to cover some really surveillance. And just kind of break through a lot of these crap that I think it is, as far as even in what we call the opposition, because I'm just really starting to get a little skittish or a little concerned about what we call the opposition as being controlled opposition. I mean, that's what I've been frustrated about. I don't want to be part of controlled opposition, right? So, you're talking about WikiLeaks, or you're talking about all these things, anonymous. I know many of you are aware that these things are controlled opposition groups, but for people that don't, I guess we'll put it out there. We were talking about in the last video about these getting internet out to the poor because they could use entertainment to change society, and we were basically referring to how there was the old order of elites and technocrats, and now there are these people that are thrown up there as the face of Facebook, like the Zuckerbergs, and the face of Google, Sergey, and so these people are supposedly the humanist, the philanthropist, and here we go. Former Facebook founders want to make Bitcoin the internet of money. So we know that Facebook was what? Facebook was a creation of basically CIA front companies, In-Q-Tel and that, to collect really information. People would post personal information, voluntarily consensual, on a database. Basically, that's going to be a front for the government to collect information, much like people do through advertising and stuff like that. How the U.S. government inadvertently created WikiLeaks. So, it's just like this is what it's all about, right? So it says here, since its inception, Bitcoin and the concept of Bitcoin has been a refreshing alternative to the global central bank and the constant devaluation of money. It says relegated to the activist and alternative communities as at the beginning of its inception, the currency has since grown to be recognized by a wide range of consumers and investors. So it says here, when New York District Court declared Bitcoin as a currency, open to regulation. So see, it's a currency, so it's open to regulation. The two former Facebook founders saw the opportunity to capitalize on the digital money. So what if I create my own Darko or GGN currency? Is that open to regulation too, or can you just go F off? Could I just let it be traded between a private or individual citizens? Why does it have to be regulated? So this right here, from the beginning, to me, the internet of money and all that, Bitcoin, just seemed to be another sham. And of course, people in alternative media and people that say, the Federal Reserve System and the economic system, they're not adhering to the principles of, whatever, blah, 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 the free market and that. They bite onto this crap too, and they still will. It's just another form of controlling currency and also controlling trade and tracking trade. So I like that, how they inadvertently created. Oops, we didn't know we created WikiLeaks. That's why this guy could just run around the world and never get caught, right? By the biggest empire, the biggest family, indigenous, homogeneous populations in the world, just blow them to hell with drone strikes, but they can't find Mr. WikiLeaks now. And Mr. Snowden too, yeah, he just slides over to Russia, right? Probably working for them in the beginning, KGB agent, like in the beginning. So Snowden among nominees for a European Human Rights Prize, considered Europe's top human rights award. So basically, along with, look at that, with Sukai, right, who's been completely silent on the ethnic genocide being carried out by Buddhist monks against the Muslims, Rohingya Muslims, and Nelson Mandela. So it's going to go to the NSA whistleblower, so who told most of us here, my viewers, what we already knew. So again, this is all that they just drown the mainstream media. They drown all the people out there that aren't aware of this information with this stuff to let you know that this is taking place. and people say, well, what am I going to do? I got nothing to hide. And then it becomes normalized. That's called engineered consent. That's how it works. Amazon CEO Bezos to buy Washington Post newspaper. So they're talking about like interest, right? Conflict of interest. Look at this, man. Buying that, the Washington Post wasn't that good to begin with, but it's just like Amazon CEO buying Washington Post. I've already mentioned before about how Amazon, I believe, is a government front. So basically, EU lawmakers angered by NSA spying on international bank transfers. So it goes on here and it says here, it's prompting European lawmakers to call for the suspension of the SWIFT deal on banking transactions between the EU and the U.S. So they're trying to create a transatlantic partnership in that. So this is all just bullshit to me. Brazil's president cancels White House visit over NSA spying. They're unhappy with the administration's response to surveillance, kind of like in Germany, they were spying and stuff. Again, this is just letting you know they spy on everybody, so you should already know that. This is beating a dead horse. I like how Brazil says they plan to create their own. They're gonna bypass the North American databases where they store information. They're gonna create their own cyber security divisions of that. Basically, they're learning from the North America and Europe, which is they're going to spy on their own people, right, in the name of global security. So, and squash dissent. Global smart ID for all UK citizens. So, it says here they fulfill the digital by default strategy is now expected to be up and running by 2014. They must here. 5 companies have been chosen to provide identity management for UK citizens, most of them which the post office, which will serve as registration center for biometric smart ID enrollment. But this is global. This isn't the UK, and I've mentioned this many times before. So it just goes to show you don't really live in a national sovereign nation, so government. Minnesota state representative joins 17 others in suing state for illegally accessing driver's license data. They said here that it was being used by this Minnesota state representative as a campaign of political retaliation. But earlier this year, it says a report by state auditors discovered that more than half of Minnesota's 11,000 law enforcement agents had misused the driver and vehicle services database. So they did that in my state as well. I got something where it says that part of a class action lawsuit as far as collecting information for IDs, and it's just like, so the taxpayers are going to pay for this, so the government's not going to, these assholes aren't going to be responsible. They're not going to go to jail. They're not going to give up their private assets. No, the taxpayers are going to sit there and fit the bill so that they can do this when they get busted. So, but this is all around. This is Wisconsin, driver license and identification cards. So we'll begin mailing all driver licenses and ID cards in 2012. And it says here that Wisconsin cannot meet the requirements issuing driver's licenses as far as the substantial changes in security features. They're talking about some kind of chip in there. Receiving your driver's license or ID card through the mail. The BMV is now mailing all new, renewed, amend, or replacement driver's license permits from a government-run secure location. These credentials are received at your home address. You feel special, don't you? Virginia's secure driver's license and ID cards. And so this is Virginia. They no longer issue driver's license and ID cards at the DMV. So, from March 2013, RFID tracking chip in Missouri's licenses. So it goes on. It says here, the Department of Revenue for that state is authorizing an RFID chip to be implanted in your license card. So what can you do? Contact your state representative. Tell them that you're outraged by the violations of your privacy. This offends you as a taxpayer. Like, do you have a choice to pay taxes? No. So you're not free. Do these people represent you? No. Do you have any privacy? Not really. You never really did. So you can try to stop paying your taxes. You can try to detach from the system. You can call it the usury system. You can talk about how your government is occupied by Zionists as well. So until you attack that, there's no real point in doing any of that. Ultimately, the state really only answers with one thing that they know best, which is violence. They have a monopoly of violence. So if you can take up arms against them, you get your asses handed to you. As far as a revolt, they'll also co-opt that revolt and play you like a tool. And then, of course, you can do it peacefully, which can be done. The only problem is what are you going to replace it with? Well, you're going to replace it with another government that will be, again, co-opted. So the best thing, of course, is to not form a government and try to do things freely. If people do want to form governments, they can go right ahead. But when you start telling other people what they can and cannot do, they're going to have to get absorbed into your government, and they can't do anything to be free. Well, then, to me, your authority over me or any of those people is basically illegitimate. So if you want to kill those people, go ahead, kill them. Be an a-hole. And call that freedom and greatness. And we're an empire, and we're the future. We're progress. But my point is you need enough people to have their heads out of their asses in order to do that peacefully. You can do things and change things, but you got to do it peacefully. You can't just blame the elites. Like me, I blame Zionists. It's like we have to blame each other. We have to blame our fellow humans for not waking the hell up. Apple taking biometric ID mainstream with new iPhone. So it has a Touch ID sensor. So it's probably to use it to sign in, authorize purchases, as well as App Store and iTunes, simply using their thumbprint. So pretty neat and pretty scary. DHS to test facial recognition technology at hockey game. So they're going to, it says here that the hockey fans will have more to worry about this weekend than avoiding the puck to the face. DHS will be testing out a new facial recognition system at the area arena this Saturday. It's about crowd scanning. They're going to test you. See? I mean, these idiots go to these sports, these breads and circus things, and then they're going to be tested on, experimented on. DHS will have a presence, but they won't be molesting you and raiding your, quote, privacy. Instead, they'll utilize the system, cameras that collect pictures of attendees in real time from far away as 100 meters, then match them up with images of faces stored on a database. But going back to the driver's licenses as far as biometric facial scans, I didn't know. Nobody told me that that's what they were doing back in 2008. Then I learned that actually they were doing it prior to when they said they were announcing that they were doing it. So they were already doing it. Government test emergency text message alert system. We've heard about this. This is in the UK. They have they're going to carry out these tests for an alert system to tell mobile phone users if an emergency occurs in the area. This happened in California too. California's cell phone screeched to life with statewide Amber Alert. They said, oh, you can also opt out. California poised to implement first electronic license plates. So anything coming to you from the state, it's being forced to you with these plates, registration licenses, so they can do whatever the hell they want. People can bitch and moan about it, but it's just like you're participating in the system, through coercion, and threat of violence. So yeah, they can do whatever the hell they want to you. You can claim, constitutional rights, but just keeps getting worse, doesn't it? High school, look at this, they're even rewriting, right? High school AP history book rewrites the Second Amendment, so the people have the right to keep and bear arms in state militia. It says here that these messages, such as stolen, expired, something similar could be displayed on the license plate. The plate could be a screen that could wirelessly receive updates from the central server to display the same information. It's funny, a friend made a really good point. As far as this Obamacare goes, is the passing of Obamacare bad for the American public? 70% say yes, right? Just another socialist smokescreen. Well, no, it's not, right? The point is what? Is that the right is arguing against it, saying we have the best health care in the system, but really it's about monopolies, insurance companies having monopolies. So you can choose that, or you can choose what Obama's pushing for, which is not socialist. It's actually about private healthcare insurance companies consolidating. So either or, you're going with monopolization of insurance companies, which insurance is a fraud, healthcare is a fraud. So there you go. People arguing for the same thing. All the people that voted hands off Syria, right, came out of the woodwork. Well, they were being used to do that. And that was a champion of democracy. See, democracy still works. Why were people against it? It said here because they become more inward because of the 2008 financial crisis. They think that money goes in a pot and it's taken out. Well, the money's stolen before it goes there. They just have to work it off more. But other people, so it should not be a surprise that the Federal Reserve is going to keep purchasing bonds, keep interest rates artificially low, which stimulates more borrowing to prop up the U.S. economy. The other reason, too, why Americans were against it, they think that this is the sign of the end times. So, talked about hiring protesters, right? Fake protesters. Look at the anarchist strike and Greece. Then came the anti-nationalists. But the Romanians holding protests over a gold mine plan, like in Peru, where it's going to poison people, those are real.